Okay, today we're going to be installing OSP Racing's new Extreme Duty jack shaft for the 2012, 13, and 14 Pro Cross sleds. These are for the turbo and 800s. So you can see our shaft comes with two new heavy duty bearings and a setup rod and some shims. So we're going to start by getting our sled tore down. We want to remove our clutch guard, converter. The gas tank's been moved back. You don't have to take this off, but it makes it easier to get in there, just so you can see. And then we also need to remove our bearing clips that hold the bearings in on this side. And the clip that holds this side. Now the next thing we're going to remove is our nut and our star washer. Then we're going to need to tap this threads in. See, that moves. You want to tap those threads until they move in, and now your shaft is able to be tapped out towards the clutch side. So you see how that moves in and out? That has to be moved all the way in order to release the shaft from the bearing. Okay.
You want to pause?
So with our clips removed and our nuts off, we're going to take something, put it at the end of the jack shaft so that it doesn't get marred, and go ahead and just drive it out. So, and as you pound, you have to keep sure that the threads are staying off. Just like that. So now, what we really did is we drove this bearing out of this side, which is what we wanted to happen. So now, with our stock jack shaft removed, we can go ahead and we are going to take and set this to the side. Okay, so now using either the stock jack shaft with the bearing pressed off of it or an old jack shaft we got laying around, drive the other side bearing out. Same way, make sure the clip is removed. Okay, so now you'll notice on the stock bearing it has the slip collar and it has the piece that goes behind it. Be sure to remove this piece, so we don't need that. What piece? This piece. So now inside of here should just have your, you can see the bearing blown out in there. Yeah. So now we have our stock bearings out. So now we're going to take and install our new supplied heavy duty bearing with our Stop Performance bearing driver. So this just fits right on like that. Drives this bearing into this case right here. We'll get it started. Just like that. Seat the bearing. Now, with this bearing seated, we want to go ahead and install the stock clip back in. Okay. Now with our new OSP bearing installed in the chain case and the snap installed, we're going to come around to the other side. So now we're going to install chain side in. Now we get it set in there. Now we'll go on the other side, tighten the nut onto the bearing. So we'll just go ahead and use our same washer that came out and same nut. So you want to make sure that the bearing is pulled all the way over and that the nut is snugged up, because what we're going to do now is check our shimming for our chassis. So we can just give it a quick little tap. with the jack shaft snugged up. Now we want to make sure there's no free play and that's tight on the bearing. Now we can come to the other side and just using 2 parallels or whatever, 2 pieces of square metal, we'll go in and find the edge of our shaft and then verse that edge to the edge where the bearing rides. So as you can see here, our shaft is negative to our tang of where our bearing rides right here in this flat. So we're just comparing this flat of this shaft to this flat where the bearing is going to ride, and the difference that is our shim amount. So we'll try a 40 thou shim to start. Push that in all the way down, and now we'll just check it again just by going off of the washer to the flats, and right there we are money. So this sled is going to take a 40,000 shim. You know, each sled is going to be different, and that's why it needs to get checked. So now with the shim installed, we can go ahead. So now with our second OSP bearing, we're going to install on this side. And the other thing, before you drive this bearing in, you need to make sure that all of the crap is cleaned out of this edge. Because if there's any like old residual grease or belt dust or any junk in there, it won't allow the bearing to sit down, and then your shim that you just measured isn't going to be accurate. So go ahead and get this in there. Now we're going to take our OSP heavy duty bearing driver, go ahead and tap it in, get it started. Get it. Okay, so with our bearing driven in, now we can see that our clip line is fully exposed, and we can reach behind now and feel that our shim that we put on our shaft to start is tied up against the bearing, which it is. So that is shimmed correctly. So now there's absolutely no space between this bearing and that side bearing of the chain case, which allows the chassis to be stiffer. Alright.
So now that you got your nut installed and tightened all the way, we're going to go ahead and bend this tab down to the nut so the nut doesn't come off. So we do, just take a screwdriver, bend it down. Just like so.
So now with our PTO clutch side bearing installed, everything's smooth and nice. This is still set up. So now we're going to take and start checking our top gear for alignment to our bottom gear. So we're going to go ahead and start out with the stock shims that came in your sled. You're going to have 3 of these, 2 gold ones and this one. We're going to start out with the silver and the gold behind. Then we're going to put our gear on. Now you're going to use the supplied 20,000 shim that we gave you. Now you're going to use the stock clip back over and set of clip tools here. Whoop. Okay, so with the clip installed, you want to have just a slight bit of free play, not much. And now we will take our straight edge and install our bottom gear, obviously. Now we will just simply place the straight edge along the bottom edge of the bottom gear, right where the chain's going to ride. Oop. Now, touching on both sides of the bottom gear and come up to the top gear, and we are right on. So that is what you're looking for, is that you can take a straight edge from the bottom edge of this flat part of the gear and take it up to this flat edge of this part of the gear, and they should be right on. Just like that. So now with that all engaged there, the net looking good, we can check our reverse gear for engagement, which slides smoothly. Everything engages good, no binding, so we are all set there. So now we have our gear shimmed. We have our other side, so now all we have left to do is on the other side reinstall our bearing ring, saving ring, right here. So we'll just go ahead and unclip it. And just like that, now we can reinstall our chain case, reinstall our chain and gears, and check our offset for our clutch, and we're done.
This video was brought to you by OSP team. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.